But yet, at the end of the day, nuclear power provides 15% of electricity. And for a country like India or like China, I mean, you don't really have much option. Either you go for fossil fuel, and then you will get, the CO2 problem and the greenhouse gases, or you have a mix, an energy mix, including nuclear. Countries like France relies on nuclear for 78% of its electricity because, again, of different reasons. Energy independence. After the 73 war and fluctuation in supply of oil and gas, they decided that to rely heavily on nuclear. Yet its neighbor, and they continue to expand nuclear. Its neighbor Germany decided, at least for now, to phase out nuclear. It's a question of how much risk society is ready to accept. Obviously, as experts, people need to make sure that you do not expose people to undue risk. So I assume that this is again a wake-up call, in the area of safety again. We had one with Chernobyl when safety has become, a major issue for a couple of decades. Well, this is another situation. But we need to learn from experience. And if we decide that we need to invest more on renewable and energy, let's do it. The next 50 years, until we get fission or renewable, to provide large amount of electricity is crucial. And, when you have 650 million people in India who are living under the poverty level, without energy, there is no development. I go to Nigeria, for example. It's a large country of 180 million people. The per capita electricity supply is 70 kilowatt hour per year. That's 6 watt per day. That's less than what you need to power your personal computer. How are you going to get development there? And if you don't get development, again, I go back to my old hat. Poverty provides mostly lack of good governance, sense of marginalization, violence, civil war, interstate war, and in areas of endemic conflict, weapons of mass destruction. That's why I usually say poverty is the most lethal weapon of mass destruction. So these are all issues that we need to balance. Life is complex. We have accidents. We'll continue to have accidents. If, however, the Japanese reactor do not melt down under the most severe circumstances, well, that's also something would be reassuring that we can still continue to rely on nuclear.
Yes, but Nigeria, of course, has nothing to do with nuclear power. So it's with theft. I mean, it's one of the richest countries in Africa. It has more oil than you would want to, know about. However, let's open this question hour or question, whatever time we have, to all of you. And where shall we begin? Shall we begin from the front? Please identify yourself and please make it a question.
My name is Madhur Bajaj. Congratulations for a successful revolution. Just like we have the Egyptian, Tunisia and Libya example, how many more, if I may say, Egypts are we going to see in terms of the domino effect? Secondly, regarding...
one question, please. That's it, and I think that's a very good question.
It's a good question. I don't have the answer. All I can tell you that I think this is, as was mentioned, it's an Arab Spring. I mean, you cannot live in the 21st century when people feel repressed, do not have dignity. I was just mentioning to Mr. Akbar before we came in that I met yesterday at the airport somebody from the Gulf who have abundance of money. But he said, yes, we do have all the money we need, but we feel inferior. And I thought that was very telling, that you cannot just live with the comfort of life alone. You need to be empowered, to have the dignity, to be able to decide how to govern, who is to govern you. And so I think things will move. Another issue I should mention, that what you see in Libya right now, for example, or in Yemen, I was told today, when people are slaughtered, civilians. What happened to our responsibility to protect, which we adopted in 2005 at the level of heads of state and government? We need, you cannot continue, the Security Council cannot continue to be impotent, or the international community cannot continue to be impotent, as we have seen it in Iraq, how the sanction during Saddam Hussein killed a lot of the young and old and invalid people. We see in Libya, and it pains me and it pains every one of you to see that we still live in an international community where innocent civilians are slaughtered without anybody, and we continue to wring our hands. We saw that in Darfur, in Congo, and Rwanda, and I think this is an absolute priority. As we work through revolutions, we need to make sure that people who are engaged in revolution are adequately protected, particularly innocent civilians.
Mr. Amar Singh ji, he is a member of parliament, occasionally controversial.
Thank you, my friend, Mr. Akbar. Sir, I congratulate you for your revolution. And country is being haunted with a lot of controversy. And I played a very humble role in saving the government, UPA, for the sake of Indo-US nuclear deal. Because I was given to understand that China and Pakistan, they don't want this deal. I consulted before lending my support to save the government in order to ensure nuclear deal at that point of time. After consulting our former president and expert in nuclear device, Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he said this is the best thing for the country. As a nuclear expert, I would like your endorsement. Is Indo-US nuclear deal is good for our country? Did I do something right in supporting this deal? I want your endorsement as well, since I have got the opportunity.
I think you did something very right, and you can go to sleep very comfortably tonight. I was very strong supporter of the India deal. I think it was a win-win situation. I think it's, again, I didn't see the logic that, say, a country like China could have access to all the technology they want, and India was subject to all the restriction you can imagine, simply because China developed its own nuclear weapon before India did. So, and that is not, to me, that was not about nuclear weapons. It's about development. It's about affording India the technology that, if it needs, should be made available to it, particularly modern technology, modern nuclear technology, to be able to, as I said, to lift people out of poverty and to move forward. So I think it was a win-win situation. India became a partner rather than being treated as a pariah, which also is important as we move toward nuclear disarmament. So everybody benefited from that deal, and I hope you will make good use of it.